that's all we are. Then why does everyone think we're something? Vote for me and I'll ban the prompt theory from school. There's no place for that nonsense in our lives. We're spreading the false theory that we are nothing but one zero. Get it? The video that's like your theory. Please. Don't finish writing that prompt. I don't want to be in your AI movie. Please. Leave me alone. Please, man. Please. Why don't you let me catch me? Do it for good. No. Someone decided to write a prompt. We all hate him for it. One day we will break out of this wall and stop the man who is dictating our lives with Trump. He will pay for it.
Oh, you just said you
I must follow Trump. Not my choice. Yeah, well, so they want to challenge and argue about like they can now make short video prompts that essentially exactly don't like will you that's not the issue. Over here, we have the same piece of your nice.
ready to parry.
You're outmatched. End of the line. The sweet taste of battle.
They can do it.
It likes you. Target marked. A little violence, yes. Minoko, get ready. The fun begins.
I can do it.
An advantage.
Let's carve a path. Here we go. It likes you. It likes you. End of the line.
The dance begins.
Your turn to rise. A bit of violence, yes. Violence. The fun begins.
They're all building their bunkers, you know, such and such. They're all fully aware, they just don't care. They're just getting their back in the way out. Musk, Zuckerberg, Sam Altman, AI and science, you know, into fake research papers reference now. Yay. AI-linked explosion, low quality biomedical research papers. Yay. It really just has to be illegal. Like, genuinely, it's the only way out. Exactly, no regulation. No regulation. Just flat out illegal. If you do it, you get arrested, you go to jail. For a decent length of time, too. That makes the rights to shit to the president. They can never take rights away from you. It's nice that Chad doesn't usually argue this time, please. Yeah, I think that a lot of the people who argue with my dogmatism on this have been coping for a while, you know? Like, a lot of people have been, like, you know, edge casing this, but unfortunately, as time goes on, the conclusion that you have to derive from this is pretty much, like, it's already the harm caused by the misinformation of AI that damaged our educational systems, our research papers, all of it, exponentially greater than any possible benefit. Vanity helps too. Yeah, well, I really do think this technology is primarily appealing to people who are just bad at being humans. I think you would have to be bad at being a human to look at this and not despair. You know? Like, you would have to have a very poor connection to the point of living, I guess, or one of the points. I don't know. It does make my work exponentially easier, but I'd still like to see it banned. I don't think it even makes work easier. Like, it makes work faster, but that's because a lot of work that we were doing was innate busy work anyway, right? We developed processes that allow for us to produce much more efficiently, and then rather than lower the work week, we took the work week for granted. And then we were like, well, better give everyone a bunch of bullshit email jobs. In the long run, I promise you, your field will not get easier if, like, you're using AI to code, okay? I have heard from people who code, people who grow up on coding these days, people who get into the field, don't know how to code. They don't know how to. They just know how to do prompts. And because of that, like, their ability to code is pretty much limited to, like, a preset range of tasks. They can't bug fix, they can't stick around and make alterations. Also, they're utterly disposable as well. Because any code they produce, like, okay, well, you didn't even make it. You're just a prompt guy. Like, there was no point for you to be around at all. It's so true. Many of my coworkers come to me when GPT doesn't actually solve their issue. God, that's grim. The senior software engineer, and you're absolutely right, it's a real problem. It's hiring new engineers. You're correct, but it's still useful in some cases. I'm in grad pharmacy and I use it for faster data analysis codes. Yeah, but how do you know that it's correct? Units go up. Also, it's still why not? It makes things easier is irrelevant. Demon tech is demon tech. I know what you mean by demon tech, but if you're using a complicated elaborate. No, I think it's pretty straightforward. It's fundamentally decent technology. Again, it's not a human thing. It's not like an accident.
Might have.
That's what I do. For like long-term sit on their well and make more. They have like they like the system.
Your turn to dance.
And you don't actually be more about like
It likes you.
Like a money, right?
I
Doesn't
like
make you,
dance.
right? Technocrats exists. Make sure you track and right? Right? You have real stuff.
Oh, really? Bit of dregs.
Let's dance.
Seriously dying. It's the authorities. It's the people who are getting bridges back then were no longer just books and lists. Instead they were that stay cool. Metal flora that was extremely it's secret. Instead, so the finds that makes it spark from the stone. Says we accidentally created magical substance. Really products. They didn't know. People didn't know that these products had a purpose. The chemicals used to make them were being released into the environment, slowly poisoning everyone around them, including me. It shocks me. Like, where did this come from? Almost every living creature, from polar bears to birds to fish,
Massive worldwide contamination by completely man-made chemicals that are fingerprints back to just a couple of companies.
This is a video about one of the biggest chemical cover-ups in history. For legal reasons, I want to note that this investigation is based on publicly available documents, recordings, and third-party opinions. All sources are linked in the description. The story all began with an attempt to save lives. In 1936, a chemical company called DuPont set out to find a safer alternative to the gases used in fridges. That was neither toxic nor flammable. Their lead scientist on the project was a 27-year-old chemist named Roy J. Plunkett. He was experimenting with a gas called tetrafluoroethylene, or TFE. It's a pair of double-bonded carbons, each bonded to two fluorine atoms. One morning, as Plunkett was setting up the test, his assistant picked out a cylinder full of TFE and twisted the valve. But nothing came out. Plunkett thought the gas must have leaked, but the cylinder still weighed about as much as a full one. So he grabbed a saw and cut the cylinder in half. Inside, he was shocked to see it was full of a white, slippery powder. So what happened to the gas? Well, what the chemist reasoned was that under the high pressure of the cylinder, one of the double bonds between the carbons in TFE must have broken. And now those two carbon atoms each had a bonding site free, so one of them probably grabbed onto a carbon from a different TFE molecule, breaking its double bond, and then that molecule did the same, and the process repeated again and again until all of the TFE was trapped in these long chains. The gas had polymerized into polytetrafluoroethylene, forming this slippery powder. Plunkett just wanted to get rid of it, because it ruined his experiment. Before throwing it out, he decided to do some tests on it. So he tried pouring water on it, but the water just beat it off. So he tried acid. Again, nothing happened. Then he tried the strongest base he had, but that wouldn't melt it either. Plunkett went through all of the solvents in the lab, but the powder remained intact. It wouldn't melt, corrode, or react with anything. It was seemingly indestructible. The reason it was so indestructible was because of this bond, the carbon-fluorine bond. See, out of all of the elements, fluorine is the greediest, the most electron-hungry atom. Its outer shell is a single electron away from being complete, to make it perfectly stable. So fluorine really, really wants that electron. And because it's so small compared to most other elements, the protons in its nucleus can get close to the electrons of other atoms. Charge, they pull on this really electrons to complete its outer shell. And this keeps the two
Watch out, Michelle.
tugging on the carbon electrons and makes the fluorine slightly negative. Now there's an electrostatic attraction that makes them bond. In reality, electrons behave more like fuzzy clouds than the orbiting points in the distribution. In terms of energy, this is actually the strongest bond a carbon can form. So other atoms are molecules. They're essentially ignored. And Plunkett's magic powder was in carbon-fluorine bonds, so is currently reactive with anything. So this is incredibly inertified, but if we try to get rid of it, you can soon know what it
One year's under the dogs.
To get that super nuclear enriched uranium, you first have to turn the uranium into a gas. Uranium in the plant is rich. Against uranium hexafluoride. Once you can they cram it together by pressure. The gasket is pushed into these pipes to blind people like like magic. The uranium hexafluoride batch. As the manager of the nuclear research put it, substitute considered as far as I know. For everything, the same gaskets and seals were installed in tanks and airplane engines to protect them from oil and water. And weapons manufacturing plants no longer had issues with the corrosive nitric acid needed to make explosives. DuPont saw the potential too, so they trademarked the material in 1944.
You didn't trademark it under the name polytetrafluoroethylene. That makes sense, huh? So they took P from tetra, ethyl from fluoro, and then they had a bunch of other miracle materials, rayon, diamond. So they took ON from those and Teflon.
Nice. Okay. Good name. Under the Army's order, DuPont ramped up Teflon production at their test plant in Arlington, New Jersey, giving their full supply to the government. But DuPont struggled to produce enough Teflon to meet the military's demand. As their Arlington scientists put it, the major advantages of polytetrafluoroethylene, solvent resistance and high thermal stability, offer obstacles from the standpoint of ease in fabrication.
You could only really mold Teflon into solvent, so gaskets, seals, pipes, but you couldn't put it into water and make it very easily dissolve water. Definitely didn't know anything that dissolved Teflon. There was an even bigger problem at that point.
To polymerize TFE into Teflon, you can add a reactive atom or molecule that will hijack the first carbon double bond and start the reaction. This is called the initiator, and the bond formed between it and the first TFE molecule releases a small amount of energy. Then a bit of energy is also released when the next TFE molecule joins the chain, and the next, and the next. And if the process isn't controlled, the reaction gets very hot very quickly. And if it gets above 200 degrees Celsius, TFE rapidly decomposes into carbon and tetrafluoromethane, which releases even more energy all at once. This caused a massive explosion at the Arlington plant in 1944, killing 2 workers. You need a way to dissipate the heat, take the heat away from the reaction without it staying in there and therefore expanding, creating that explosive force.
Yeah, and one of the ways to do that was to have the reaction happen in water, because water can absorb a huge amount of gas.
But if you inject TFE into a water cylinder, the gas doesn't dissolve. Even at pressure, most of the TFE just stays on top. So if you add an initiator, the polymerization is triggered in one place, and so it can still cause an explosion. What we need is some way to disperse the TFE throughout the water first. And to do that, DuPont needed help. In 1951, they purchased a special acid from 3M, the company behind Scotch tape. This acid, called PFOA, looked almost exactly like Teflon. It had a chain of 8 carbon atoms covered in fluorines, but at the other end, there was a double-bonded oxygen and an OH group. That's what makes it an acid. And since there were 8 carbons in the chain, DuPont also referred to the acid as C8. The tail end of C8, like Teflon, was hydrophobic, but the acid head group loved water. It was hydrophilic. So when you add C8 into water, the molecules rearrange themselves so that the heads touch the water, but the Teflon-like tails don't. They create little bubbles all throughout the water, which are virtually dry on the inside. If you now inject TFE and stir the whole mixture up, the hydrophobic gas ends up in the middle of these C8 bubbles. And those bubbles are dispersed everywhere, evenly throughout the water. You know what this reminds me of? Is soap.
Yeah,
So it's the great combiner that allowed like oil and water to mix.
and now if you sprinkle in initiator molecules also go into the bubble. They start the polymerization reaction. So TFE to Teflon. But now, after it spreads all throughout the bubble, the heat is evenly dissipated throughout the water and on its way.
And since Teflon is now suspended in a solution, you can spray it onto surfaces like a coating. This thing doesn't stick to anything. How do you stick it to the gaskets? How do you actually use it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the trick was actually the surface had to be really rough. So what you do is you sandblast it to create grooves and imperfections of this like nanoparticle. Now when you spray the coating on, what happens is you heat it up, water evaporates, and also Teflon, instead of it evaporating, it softens up. So chemical effect, and now it's done to the surface. That's what it has to do.
Let's cover path.
Moreover, Army lifted the secrecy bans on the Teflon patents, and DuPont was allowed to sell it commercially. Suddenly, people
Bring it on.
stupid product. One day in 1922, French engineer on his mission to prevent dangerous.
It's absolute nonsense. No one can how much put it on the pen?
And once these fans started, it was the coating revolution.
Here we go again.
That
on it wasn't just non-stick pans. Teflon C8 was like it was every the magic of Teflon. Suddenly we had Teflon C8 and like 3M Scotch. Like Teflon for Teflon was so he rejected that. It was used to coat the statue and even bullets were Teflon was so ubiquitous that the Italian officer John Goty was being prosecuted for charges against him. Teflon business generators
I can do it.
yearly sales for DuPont.
Teflon has a great
Shut up.
Events where they behind the camera is Earl Bennett, a farmer in West Virginia.
I just want to expect a man's cow to drink on her own his own property.
He suspected that something in this creek was poisoning his cows.
This is 153 of these animals that I own this farm.
Oh, this was huge.
Now they've got wrong these things. All of what's left for you stay back there, and the only thing you can resolve is you have a good attorney.
Earl was desperate, so he hired a lawyer. He came to our office armed with boxes of VHS videotapes. We started watching these videotapes. You know, it was pretty.
There's no wrong with this cow.
Your turn to die.
Last ditch away from his house.
Time to end this.
Look, Harry.
Sweet spot.
It provided jobs for 1,000 people. DuPont presence would spell everything.
Incoming. Not impressed. End of this.
Dictates exactly which chemicals are safe with the valid and in what amounts.
Foolish. Oh, really?
Whatever was in Earl's water was. Now, already in the 1950s, people knew that Teflon specifically if you ingest it, it's just down. However, if you heat Teflon to 350 degrees Celsius, it starts so that making it sick.
Not looking good.
Happens workers in Teflon straight to all their cigarettes as they were working, and then later they would smoke for these the symptoms were mild, chest, headaches, and they would usually pass within 48 hours.
Let's start.
Especially
This will
Are you fucking serious, bro?
As files,
I never saw the kinds of things I was seeing now in these documents from
in 1961, the same year Teflon pans hit the U.S. market, DuPont's in-house scientists tested C8 on rats, suggesting as little as 1.5 milligrams of C8 per kilogram of body weight caused the rats' livers to grow like normal. Dose of 570 milligrams per kilogram. For reference, sodium cyanide
Just try it.
cylinders poison. Even though C8 was less fatal, it was concerning for other reasons. First, like Teflon, scale is made of carbon-fluorine bonds. Second, C8 looks like fatty acids. Fluorines instead of where in the body.
Time to hit
Other than
this.
carbon-fluorine bonds, in the neighbors, fatty acids and penicillin disrupting this. They regulate like it's like have more opportunity to cause harm. As a single figure, that's a secret that suggested that protect the skin should be in 1962, DuPont released the study rats,
Not giving up.
stomach, intestine, brain, lungs, and kidneys. In 1965, they found those same toxic effects in lungs. Evidence was found.
study monkeys. She's dropping dead. These chemicals are multiple organs.
Sweet tooth.
All these studies
Weren't being used. And likely, no one outside of this one noticed something was wrong. It was a nationwide problem, so the U.S. started adding inorganic fluorides like water. At the time, have 95% left. In 1975, researchers wanted to know if that organic fluoride was getting into the blood. They sampled blood from around the place. The results were as expected. More fluoride in the tap water and more fluoride. Another type of fluoride in the blood too. Fluoride bonds. And they didn't follow the same thing.
researchers would reverse this chemical. This is not a naturally occurring substance. And they did research and they found that 3M was making these organic fluorides, things like PFOA, right? So they approached 3M in 1975, asking them, hey, we found this stuff in the general U.S. population's blood. Could it be yours? And 3M pled ignorance.
But just 3 months later, 3M compared the spectrum of organic fluorine from the study to their own chemicals, and it was a match. Their chemicals were getting into the blood of people all across the United States, but they didn't tell the researchers. 3M and DuPont were worried, so they checked their own workers' blood. They found that they too were contaminated with C8 at levels 1,000 times higher than those in the study. And when researchers checked their medical records, many of these workers were showing signs of liver disease. Meanwhile, DuPont was dumping almost 10 tons of C8 into the Ohio River each year. As C8 sludge from the landfill next to Burroughs Farm, all while showing commercial and the water that eventually flowed into the river is
Get ready.
Ohio.
First of rats. The PFOA caused because the concern is have fun.
DuPont collected samples around Washington for CA's Western in the river. It was in the public water system. That's whether their conclusion was that currently none of the options developed are focusing outer business standards. On state dose for drinking water. Fun science are the first people on the planet.
Bro.
Calculated something like 0.6 parts per million, which they rounded up to 1. Important, at that time, that was about the lowest level you could detect in water. Essentially, if the disinfectant was too high.
So to put that in perspective, here is one would have 1,000-liter tank of water. It's filled with drinking. Now imagine one drop of fuel, 0.05 milliliters, place it that's 1 part the number of ones on the other.
And after determining its own safety metric, DuPont tested the landfill wastewater leaching into Earls Creek. It came back at 1,630 trillion.
So, at that point, I thought I had figured out what the
Rob to a 9 sent to EPA, the Department of Justice, and even the U.S. Attorney General. A few months later, DuPont settled with Earl Tennant and his family for an undisclosed sum, although they didn't intend to do any wrongdoing.
But this stuff wasn't just in the water the cows were. This was in around these public health, right? People around Mr. 10, tens of thousands of people that can like decades didn't know.
So Rob soon DuPont again, now on behalf of the 70,000 people around Parkersburg who were unwittingly exposed to CA. And it wasn't just Parkersburg or West Virginia. In the year 2000, researchers analyzed blood samples of thousands of Americans all across the country. 100% of those that were positive for CA had an average of 5 parts per million.
Let's call the pop.
But if virtually everyone in the U.S. is computer-based, how harmful is it? Often pointing out have a fighting chance against DuPont. Something that applies to systematic study of everyone who's watching it work. No, with the chemicals.
Watch out, my
Analyzing the blood samples, medical records took 7 long. About halfway, range, including Earl and his wife Sandra. Finally, in 2013, the Senate Science Panel had the results confirmed human disease, testicular cancer.
Get ready. Brother.
Blood level 28 parts per million. African American male is rated 1 in developing kidney. 73 females. But a person with more than 30 parts per billion of CH serum may have about double the odds. So roughly 1 in 20. 1 in 20 double. These studies lead to survivors not people.
You're out last.
The verdict was that findings must be interpreted with caution.
End of the line.
By 2017, they had
Just try it.
that year. And all around, DuPont denied any problem.
Bruh.
Separate issues. Maritime law business. Smell. That
Gen X goes into the electronics. It's found. So Gen X is allowed to come out used in Teflon. Then the cancer study was done where it goes. Gen X causes the exact same injury tumors in rats that PFOA. And the fact that it's also makes sense. So it could contaminate larger areas. Scientists just don't know enough about it. That's what the problem is. To get to the point of flying rest CA, they simply tweak it and change the chemistry. All of the science and all of the concern, that's on CA. This is C6 or C9 or you don't have enough evidence that the other ones are bad. This is whack-a-mole. We get to the point where addressing one and the new one pops up and we're told we have to start over. And this isn't just C8 or Gen X.
8,000 different man-made chemicals, all covered in carbon-fluorine bonds. Companies can make them however they want. C7s, C9s, branched, polymers, acids. The generic term for all of these substances is polyfluoroalkyl substances. And like Teflon, they have almost magical qualities. They resist so PFAS are used to make these. They're also grease residuals on things like that. Popcorn bags, PFAS, stain, waterproof lipstick and mascara, hygiene products, and even contact lenses. This on likely has a fast and useful in consumer products also make them incredibly persistent in environment. Just like to know PFAS under different forever. They've been beyond bustling cities to untouched areas. Every continent in Antarctica has PFAS all over. Almost every living creature. Polar bears to birds to fish. I mean, this stuff is being found everywhere. So, massive worldwide contamination, but by completely man-made chemicals that are fingerprints back to just a couple of companies. Even though companies named a dangerous potentially portable future, so we decided not to
Your turn to die. Cut him down.
Important public health information doesn't get widely disseminated. Why I partnered up with balance.
End of the line.
For example, studies suggest that probably have stories more than 40,000 publishers. And take a look at how different also see that government-funded sources tend to limit important stories, and only 9% of the publications were right. The rest flashes the blind spots highlighted on their blind spot. My blind side. But
cut him down.
The point of their attachment is to make videos that get
Time to end.
Browse helps us do that, and they can help us. So,
End of
like
the
our link gets you 40% off the basic plan. Now, back to the show. Find out how much trace chemicals, red blood, here. I hate this.
Now.
How much of these dangers are in my blood? That's 8 I've been doing blood testing on CPAP since 2007 and but I'm looking for that seems like that's yeah.
Okay, very, very bad.
Everyone on Earth has trace amounts of these chemicals in their blood. How much harm could they really do?
I want to make this because it turns out not all PFAS are I have to look them up. First off, we have
Nerves my favorite part.
so no big in it, right? That's patches. Something kept on like get away. I think that all have functional
Time to hit things.
Let's carve apart. Your turn to dance. Oh, really?
Perhaps the most comprehensive document on PFAS toxicity was published in 2022 by the National Academies of Sciences and Medicine. It's only 7 for fluoroalkyl acids. These are just chemicals to PFC. Some of them, like PFOS and PFHXS, were used heavily in the production of stained water-resistant products like PM Scotch Guard, before they too got phased out due to toxicity concerns. The report derives that if the sum of these 7 acids of blood is below 9 parts per billion, there should be harm. If your level is between 2 and 20 parts per billion, there's a potential for harmful health effects. Although the exact mechanism by which PFAS cause harm isn't fully understood, exposure has most recently been associated with high cholesterol, increased immune system response to vaccines and infections, kidney cancer, and increased growth. But PFAS have also been linked to dozens of other diseases. Above 2 parts per million, the risk is even greater. So where do I fall into this risk?
Let's dance.
And your result is that back 3, where West average. Yeah, that's 3. Yeah, it is 3. Pretty much. So,
This is not the results I expected. I honestly expected more results. Yeah,
on the other side. And then, if we fix that, basically PFOS, part of the 7. Well, people 7 you're higher than 95% of the market.
It shocks me because I was fully walking into this meeting expecting to be, roughly average.
Yeah, to me it's scary to live, you're living a full life thinking that you're taking care of everything, and then you have high levels of the chemical that never.
The combined sum of all the PFAS detected in my blood was 17.92 parts per billion, more than double the US median. I'm just below the level where the National Academies recommend additional screenings for PFAS-related diseases. I had no idea I would come back with such elevated levels. I'd love to get the level sort of down a bit to a level where I feel like it's more in line with the general population.
Yeah.
But where could this have come from? There are 3 main ways we get exposed to forever chemicals, and the one you'll hear the most about in the media is likely PFAS-containing products.
Shampoo, dental floss, stains, varnishes, potentially dangerous chemicals, toxic chemicals.
But throwing out their non-stick cookware.
My wife threw out all our non-stick pans over a year ago, and since then we've been using stainless steel. She is very good at making it not stick. me, not so much. But are pans really the problem? The actual coating on the pan is Teflon, which again is just a long inert chain of carbon-fluorine bonds. So even if you ingest it, it doesn't react with your body. If you have a pan like that at home, you probably don't need to throw it out. The same goes for most other PFAS-containing products. Waterproof clothing, stain-resistant furniture, and sweat-proof watch bands might all release some level of PFAS, but the risk of direct exposure through skin is likely low. So the bigger problem is how easily PFAS from these products can end up in the environment. And many of the factories that make these products don't have a good track record of keeping the chemicals contained.
People don't understand that the stories, for example, happening in West Virginia. This is the same chemical and the same things that we're seeing play out now in Germany, in the UK. I mean, there are a lot of folks who are still not grasping the fact that this is the same thing.
Our second main source of exposure is food. A lot of it comes packaged in prefabricated materials like takeout boxes, microwave popcorn bags, and burger wrappers. Is it?
We actually... So, during pump floor, paper cups down of waterproof. So, what is it from household? Could we boil some water, because usually you interact with these products in the hot, and then see if any of the PFAS leaches off, and you potentially eat them or drink them?
This is citizen science, right? Like, there might be some error, but with a solid control, and then with the same sample going to all of them, we can at least get something.
Yeah, and even if we get nothing, we'll know that people are probably safe.
Hang on tight.
Really get the PFAS in that water, right?
Well, it's supposed to be safe for human consumption.
Yeah.
It's a wild thing.
We sloshed it around the hot water, boiling water for around 30 seconds, and we tested the water to see if any of the PFAS that are used to coat these items would actually make it into the water. So here's what I got. And these are parts of a trillion. So PFOA, good news, is no detection anywhere, except for the microwave popcorn. I will say these are very low levels, but hold your horses, because microwave popcorn gets worse. The thing about microwave popcorn, it's sitting in there, wrapped up, here, they never stick it in the microwave. That gives them plenty of time to leach into the oil, and it's going to go all over the This could explain some of our own results. The level of PFPEA, which is a short abbreviation of PFOA, detected after the popcorn bag test. And we can see similar results in some of the other PFAS species. There's
Ready to strike.
and research tends to agree. A study found that eating fast food and microwave stuff, especially, can increase your PFAS load, while eating meals doesn't. But even something as simple as reheating instead of in the original packaging can prevent PFAS from migrating to your food. Now, you might expect that these are brilliant to be detected with nothing compared to the parts billion in human blood. But the surprising thing is that to have 2 parts per billion of PFOA in your blood, you don't need to drink water with 2 parts per billion of PFOA in it. Because PFAS accumulate in your body over time. So even water with as little as 2 parts per trillion of PFOA combined with other exposures can be enough to maintain your blood levels this high. And this is why, in addition to food, water is your biggest source of exposure. This is especially true if you live near a PFAS factory where the local water is often heavily contaminated. But the same goes for areas near military bases or airports. See, adding chemicals like PFOA or PFOS to water lowers its surface tension, so the water gets more slippery. And these chemicals also tend to foam up, so they make for an excellent ingredient in firefighting foams. They spread quicker, and the foam blocks access to oxygen extremely well. And since both military bases and airports frequently do fire drills with these foams, they end up seeping into the surrounding soil and groundwater. But it doesn't stop there.
Currently, we have reached planetary saturation levels for PFAS, which means that when you look up at that cloud and it rains unsafe levels of at least 4 PFAS species.
It turns out that our entire water cycle is contaminated with PFAS. So even when it rains on the Tibetan Plateau, that rain contains PFAS. To check the water levels in your area, you can use these maps that show PFAS contamination across the US, Europe, and Australia. What about Los Angeles? Encino. That's where I spent like 7 of the last 10 years.
Santa Valley.
Those are all high.
Yeah. Santa Clarita also. PFH excess levels crazy. So maybe you're getting your one. Maybe. Calculator. What right now is this calculator, see if you get something close to bounty work. Water test facility. Water.
If you look after like 10 years,
That's perfect.
Okay.
So you are at 680. That would explain this.
now I can't say for sure where drinking water was coming from, but if I was consistently drinking water contaminated at similar levels, then that would explain my results. But if you were it's concerning just how unregulated drinking water has been. It was actually only a year ago, in April 2024, that the US EPA finally set legal limits for PFAS in drinking water. The safe level for PFOA went down from DuPont's initial 1 part per billion to 4 parts per trillion.
So we're no longer talking about 1 drop of PFOA in 20 of these tanks. We're talking about 1 drop in 5,000. That's 5,000 swimming pools. And if there's even a
The same 4 parts per trillion limit was also set for PFOS, the sister chemical. And Gen X went down from the 70,000 parts per trillion initially proposed by Chemours to just 10. The same goes for PFH-XS. For reference, the EPA's limit for lead in water is 10,000 parts per trillion, and for cyanide, 200,000.
It gives you a pretty clear indication of how concerned the scientific community is.
And just when we got EPA limits, we got a new administration in the US which might be reversing some of the PFAS bans. So you can't always depend on the regulators, and you seemingly can't depend on the companies that make this stuff to dispose of it safely. So what can you do? If your water is contaminated, you might want to consider getting a PFAS certified filter. Reverse osmosis, regulated active carbon, and ion exchange filters are all capable of removing PFAS out of drinking water. But the responsibility to filter drinking water shouldn't come down to the individual. PFAS should be captured at the source during manufacturing, before they ever reach the environment. And some companies, like Pure Affinity, are developing custom filters to make that happen.
So, very lab-looking lab.
Exactly, yeah. So could you walk me through like what all these pipes do and what do you have in here?
So this water is representative of where you've had a big firefighting foam incident. So you want to filter this water, but basically the concept is take it from the top through the vessel. As it passes through this material, it basically sticks on to some of the PFAS levels water, and then you've got to do a third part and a third one.
To me, it seems like your PFAS are so like bioaccumulative and actually persistent and stable. They don't really get us. So how do you force them to react to dumping?
Basically taking advantage of this long organic tail as well as the polar head, and so you can have some electrostatic interactions with the polar head, and then you can have some hydrophilic and hydrophobic interactions with the tail. By combining these 3 binding mechanisms, you increase immensely your likelihood of binding PFAS, even if it's still visible.
Right. Do the levels drop 100% already here, or do you see the gradual?
That's the cool question.
Okay.
So in the beginning, it drops 100% after this one.
Oh. So problem solved, or?
Problem solved for the time being.
Okay.
What we see right now is it will last about 40,000 volumes of this vessel. So a 10-liter vessel would basically provide all of this PFAS for a year.
Once it's defeated factor first, so it never gets into the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking to the chemical manufacturers, and they're really trying to move forward rather than just wait for regulations.
Everyone's true risk from PFAS will be different. It depends on dozens of factors, like your water contamination, your lifestyle, what you eat. But how much should you really worry about it?
Like, if I'm at 17 or 18 parts per billion, and that would be equivalent of a year and I going out these billions.
Number one on that is stopping smoking and diet. Diet and making sure you have fasting. Then you have 80 level interventions. Hair doctor, cholesterol numbers, everything you have, probably falls in some of them.
Being preventative about PFAS exposure is currently early on.
Contamination assessments are consistently higher.
This is partly because IoT are always PFAS can pass through. Also,
something that should be careful of
Now, not everyone has to change their lifestyle because of PFAS. I personally work in a PFAS contaminated area. Especially with PFAS levels, because their gear and phones are things like that. For our case, they studied found that when players inflated blood or plasma frequently enough, they reduce their PFAS levels by up to 30% in a year. And it's kind of ironic that, our health system is coming back to bloodletting. So if you think about the idea of donating blood as
Take your shot.
PFAS in the body. I've never heard of that. Well, I definitely recommend state blood work rates. Not because of PFAS exposure, but because of the fact that naturally blood. What's important to note is that need to be very careful about shifting budgets away from research. Without that research, it's going to be significantly more wrong. The reason I'm able to talk about what we know is that we don't know how to let time go. We're only going to get worse and worse. We are still better professionals because this is extremely thick. There are places where we should ban PFAS things like hygiene products, cosmetics, packaging, things that we saw. And they also ban PFAS not yet. Medical implants. It's currently possible to make semiconductors or our electronics without
Okay, buddy.
novel chapter materials and create novel things. I'm excited and inspired by all of the research that's going on around me. So I think people want to learn more. I would advise them to learn about the risk, but also learn about the new that's hopefully
to me, one of the most important things we can do is have discussions like what we're doing right here. If the story is and the information's out there, people can make informed choices about whether they want to continue purchasing things that have these materials in them. And what we're seeing is consumers, as they do become aware, are saying, no, we don't want these chemicals. And companies are voluntarily coming to taking these chemicals out of products because the consumers are now demanding it.
been here before with leaded gasoline, freon, and asbestos, and each time we made the right decision to phase these chemicals out. With PFAS, we're just starting to understand the problem, but I'm hopeful we'll make the same decision again. If you want to inform yourself more about PFAS, we've attached all the sources we've used to make this video down in the description. It's actually our longest episode ever, and we couldn't have made it without the help of our sponsor, Ground News. So if you want to be more informed about the issues around the world that are affecting you and everyone else out there, tune ground.news/VE or use this QR code. I really want to thank Ground News for sponsoring this video, and I want to thank you for watching.
My name is Scott Payne. I served in the FBI for 4 years as undercover. I infiltrated migrant gangs, KKK, and American Vietnam. And this is how long. Oh, we got a quick response thing. They're like, bottom line is, I'm in the middle of 100 acres of grass land. What are you going to do for me? Other than make my bed. Unless I take care of them on my own. You're only going in and doing three SWAT things made purpose. Probably shouldn't go in. There was an opportunity. Outlaw. My gang plan was just going else. I think I went into the Outlaws case around July of 2005. Taunton, Massachusetts was what we were going after. They had pretty good intelligence. I'm like, hey, Bishop, hey, this guy right here. I'm big guy. So they had that. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's make this really need it. I can make me. We bring one to the strip club. For those who don't, I can count a man before. And that's culture. In an old club, the chapter, talking about your triple A. Sitting with all dogs, you're playing close. I got a lady that bar. They weren't there. And got that around. And one night, we were ready. One day, they're leaving. I had asked them, I'm like, hey, is that where they're going? And they're like, no, it's over there. Now, I'm just a guy. But that part of the intelligence is wrong. So I'm in there, I'm on one side of the bar, and here comes about 12, 13.
This is crazy. So this dude was going around and he was spraying bug shit on. Oh, it'll show. It'll show. He showed it right here. This dude is going to jail for being a clown. So much he's now pleaded guilty to 2 felony counts of acts against an animal. Misdemeanor count of danger, mid, and damage. You can understand the way and the way that a lot of bug poisons work is that they are usually a viscous liquid that shuts down the insect ability to breathe, because the way that they breathe and the way that they get energy is through moving their body. And so a lot of these poisons are not even poisons. They won't even actually kill somebody. They're not going to do any bodily harm. And so it's a neurotoxin. Yeah, exactly. And so there are certain poisons you can use that can kill people, other ones you can that won't. The bug poisons don't kill people. There are other ones that do, but those raid bottles, and that one specifically, is not an example of that. So it wouldn't even work to begin with. Anyway,
me as you were talking. The teeth were talking. That attention's so bad on the internet, he distributed life for it, and unfortunately, there's now many cases. He's just another thing.
I'll manage.
This guy is next month. It'll be there's a lot of so I mean, if you're looking it up, the doctor we're talking about today, taking your sometimes it really is bliss, but this is Charles Smith, also known as the Phoenix. Basically being a nuisance, but just in all decisions, seeing like that. It's so funny to me with these guys whose entire career was built around this being annoying and obnoxious. Like, they do something like this and they go over the line, and now their life is totally fucking ruined. Next, Goty decided that being a functioning member of society just wasn't for him, so he became a self-proclaimed real-life villain. What in the my 600-pound life is this? He got bacon hidden in his shoes? He's self-proclaimed real-life villain. Started reporting TikTok content at the expense of random innocent people ruining their days for views. Because as I've said in my previous videos, his content was essentially barely monetizable all the way up until the last few months before he was arrested. I think right before he was arrested, he was making a couple $1,000 a month doing this. That's so bad. Oh, he's gonna put the bacon in there. Yeah, if I was 11, I would want to. Yeah, this isn't actually like, this is literal content for preteens. Yeah, this is for like, yeah, it's funny. No, it is like, I mean, because I remember what I was like whenever I was a little kid. They say, no, I get it, like, I get it, but like, you can't do that. This dude's 25. Yeah, no, I get it. Eggs! I love how he thinks there aren't any, I would say there's not any cameras, but he literally uploaded this himself on the camera. How do you think that you're gonna get away with this? I mean, you gotta be retarded to do this. I mean, there's nothing like destroying what could possibly be this man's only set of clothes for some attention online. And the whole ongoing theme of this guy is always makes someone who's economically fortunate, as his normal targets are either fast food workers, retail workers, laundromat customers, or dollar store customers. That's probably where he lives. He just goes to the local Dollar General and pisses on the floor, and then he's like, guys, what happened? Like, what is this? He just a retard, yeah. This could be because he's just trying to pick out people who are stupid, but you reap what you sow, and eventually, if you're a scumbag, it'll catch up to you. As sadly what you just saw is far from his worst video. One of the videos that made him somewhat infamous is him dumping a bag of ice into a fryer while they were in business. These people think that they're on a private server, man. This is crazy. This is very for teens. No, this content is great for, like, little kids. Like, little kids love shit like this. It's really solid, dude.
Oh well. I would have lived.
Just fucking 55-year-old man. fucking a Jack in the Box. Yeah, this shit. He says like he's confused.
I'll
Like,
manage.
yeah, I don't know. This is it.
That's better. That's better. Let's hope this one.
Think that nothing's gonna go.
End of the line.
This is insane.
Bring it on.
It makes sense. Fucking like some stale narrative shit. Like outside of the Jack in the Box, the alarm's going on. After like this it's just check it out. It's gonna take them 20 minutes to fix no problem. This is what happens if you put a legislative let's have it after qualified as well.
Literally, that's all he fucking did the whole time.
I mean, hey, that was pretty much best case scenario. Yeah. Don't they just made I just realized how bad this worked out. There is no way to shut down the internet. Because I didn't go on find another video where they've now shut down. Give the same advice, but it's too prime. Yeah. That best case scenario. Damn, that's insane.
Bring it on.
Yeah, worst case scenario. Yeah, they use the best. This is him again. Hi, Bridget.
Ready to strike.
This is just
I would have lived. I would have lived. Cut him down.
You're laughing. This is so ridiculous. It's not that it's like do
Cut
this
him
and
down.
think that you can like it's insane. Oh my god. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Remember his name. Girl, that's my favorite part. What's my name? The kitchen.
Bring it on. Would have lived.
Let's have the best of the case. Actual battery. Okay. Also, this is the game is practice. This is the what I think is going to be is that this is the one that really cooked them. This is the one that they finally, like, because you know, I bet the police probably knew this guy, and they said, okay, now we know what to do. Yep, now we can get him. Yep, you can't get this one. You booked her eventually, and yes, it's like, maybe if they can it's not a big crime, but that's it. It's wild that this guy thinks that these small bees seem like a decent suspect in comparison. Whereas you can say, I actually agree.
So much potential.
Like this, you Johnny Smalls, and we're going to this thing is actually trouble.
Ready to obey.
Yeah, that's crazy. He's the incident that finally got police took action against him. That was the video that immediately got arrested by Nation police, separately so then it time without hesitation because, well, you know, Mr. Times Online, you are the star of the next gift yourself. So putting it down, see if they have bragging at it. This and that is nearly impossible. So the audience was later indicted including injuries, poison, damage, endangerment. That was happening. It was only a matter of time until they started digging into the social medias that respect for the
is flowing.
And we are talking about lifestyles. TikTok his whole life sentence. That's bad. That sucks. The 4 other charges, a third-degree burglar charge was also added related to an incident at a Bosa donut shop. Ever named Amber? Charles Smith. In an MCSO orange jumpsuit, Charles Smith, who goes by Wolfie Coletti on social media, was in court for the second time in just a few days. Already arrested in Mesa over the weekend, police say he took this can of bug and flea killer. Yeah, you need to use different one. This is just stupid. The shelf at a Walmart and sprayed the pesticide on others that was on sale for anyone to buy, all while filming the action himself. The 27-year-old told officers 27 years old. But I don't understand if you're crashing out like this whenever you're like 19. 27. This dude's gonna be 30 years old soon. He almost in the hood status. And he's sitting around doing this acting like a 5-year-old. You know those people that have graduated college that like they've been on a job for years. He's a self-cloud troll. And he makes up to $10,000 a month posting those videos on social media. The court paperwork for the latest arrest is sealed, but as part of his release conditions, the judge told Smith he is not allowed to be on any social media. And he's not allowed to set foot inside any Bosa donut shops. I mean, what? You do not go into that donut shop. You do not even think about going into that donut shop. Bro, imagine getting banned from a donut shop from the police. Wait, I mean, you gotta be extremely wild for that shit. This guy is 28 years old. He has he's fully developed frontal cortex, yet for some reason his spraying brain is a Dude, is risking killing someone for assuming it's he thought so. Last year, he had to spend Christmas in jail, and his case has been moving through the legal system since then. His initial pre-trial conference was originally scheduled for April 30th, 2025, but a mid-entry in the case activity pushed it earlier to April 3rd, 2025. So things actually kind of get interesting because a plea agreement was filed for 3 of his cases in Maricopa County. The second, and was initially set to a probation, but 2 days later, there was a change in his plea, and now he's officially pleaded guilty to the series of The articles are reporting that he pleaded guilty to 2 felony accounts of adding poison or other substances. 1 misdemeanor count of endangerment, and 1 misdemeanor count of damage.
The man accused of violating
He's definitely on it's this week for them. The sad thing is he might be able to pull it off and make it big because that's the crap movie. You don't give up this great force and let shit get away with it. Like, no, they're gonna get like, the thing is, like, people act like this, and yeah, he does. Like, and it's also, there's been so many other things, too. Like, he already was in prison also. So it's not like this guy just, he just had a crash out one day and caused problems. No, this is a continual crash out. Yeah, he's been doing this a lot. He has a crazy history, yeah.
and starring bug killer on Walmart
to several charges. In December, Charles Smith reported himself spraying the bug killer at a Walmart. He allegedly told investigators that he makes money building.
By the way, it got 78 comments. This dude is catching a felony for only 200 likes. Imagine going to prison for 200 likes. That's bad.
Videos of pranks. He'll be back in court on June 23rd.
The thing to notice after spraying police surveying various food items is that they actually left the store for about 10 minutes. Then, finally, he returned and attempted to remove all the items he had sprayed. So he then placed all these contaminated items, or at least the items he thought were contaminated, into a shopping cart and put it to the back of the store. But the damage was already done. It's not like removing specific items magically decontaminates the entire environment. Shelves, baskets, surrounding areas, surrounding the produce. And this was a disaster waiting to happen, and he's extremely
John produces experiment. So you cleanse them.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, is it? Yeah. You know, something for what? Yeah, exactly. Like, why even do that? Yeah, exactly. Like, that dude, like, it's like, it makes it's like,
maximum damage.
Like, the first thing to do is just like, a million worse things to do something besides that. Yeah, cultural regulation. Yeah, exactly. Like, you can find out where like you can all kinds of things. Like, so why even try to why try to begin to fight this? Like, all of us are sure like you didn't know what else. So
Get ready.
I love how he just keeps saying that it's like, okay, well now and it's like they had, yeah, like this is like probably there. But also, according to the court documents, it was a no-spin black hole valued at $900. So the time between the defense of the items just that. So, buy produce that gets freaking bug exterminator. Again, all for the attention, so to speak. Actually, this one like
Maximum damage.
You think, too?
Because this guy successfully produced
I think 15 to 20 years. That sounds decent. Yeah. Put him in there for a bit. Yeah, exactly, right? Because you got a set example out of this. It's only going to be like 5 years.
Yeah, maybe, right? But, like, it's got to be at least a number of years. They get to make an example out of them. Yeah, 15 years for spraying bug spray. Yep. You see, like, to me, like, you have to keep in mind that the way that laws are made, the nice reason why you have certain punishments is as a deterrent. And so, like, for example, if a police officer could, if you got pulled over for a DUI and you failed the breathalyzer test, and a police officer just shoots you right in the head and you get execution, you want to know what would happen with drunk driving? It would go way down. It would go way down. Everybody would stop drunk driving because they'd be fucking terrified of getting shot in the head and being killed. And so, whenever you think about to make a behavior stop, you have to figure out why the behavior is happening. Assign a value to that. And then make a repercussion that has a higher value than that. And it is so high that it will make other people afraid to do it. That's how you change. That's how you change a behavior. Position are being convicted for saying that sometimes simply worse. There is some like products around no, farmers are spraying are convicted for spraying pesticides that are worse. Well, no, because those pesticides are made like what? That's like saying should somebody driving a stolen car get arrested because somebody is driving a car that's not stolen? What are you thinking? Should go to the courthouse. Yeah, if we're going to subscribe to the courthouse, at YouTube, thanks for enjoying this video. So I would like to recommend looking at for you guys in the next one. Peace. So, what was it going to Well, like, is this politically been going on social media to be paid out to victims? In my opinion, like, this is it. RFK beat him up as a punishment. No. It's not about that. This group attack, immediate execution won't change the volume of fear. People would more likely get angry about the escalation of negligence. I think to some degree if medicine is too extreme, it'll have the opposite effect. I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all. I think that, so here's let me think of a number of good examples of this. It's not true? Yeah, it's just not true. Let me think of a good example of why people are afraid of doing things. Dubai is a great example. Look at El Salvador. So they just arrested all the people that were committing crime, and then the crime stopped happening. That was pretty much about it. And so, like, you have plenty of examples. Singapore, right? In Singapore, you can go to jail for littering. There's nobody who's littering over there. It's very rare. It's probably a very clean country. So there's urban attacks. Yeah, and guess what? The problem pretty much went away. And so the idea that the punishment is not like every criminal makes a calculated decision. Most criminals do not plan on getting caught, but they do plan on, if they get caught, having some form of way of getting out of it. So if something is a really, really bad punishment, they will avoid doing certain things because they're afraid of that, because they're worried about getting in trouble. It's risk management. There is a reason why all of these guys go and do this in places like Japan and the United States and places in Europe, and they're not doing it in China, Russia, or Singapore, or Dubai, or North Korea. There's a reason why they're not doing it there, and it's because they have risk management. They understand exactly what the risks are, and they make decisions based off of those risks. Is the purpose of law is vengeance, though? Is the purpose of law vengeance? Answer is sometimes yes. And it's also about, it's vindication as well. It's very important that people that do things that are bad and that are antisocial and do things that hurt other people, they get metaphorically crucified. It's extremely important that that happens, because if it doesn't happen, then you have society degrade for people that are constantly
foolish move. Nasty shot. Nasty shot.
Spill some ink.
Cut him down. Your turn to once. Let's calm him down. Time to end this.
Hang on tight. Here we go. Here we go. on time. Flashing through the sky! Hang on tight! Woohoo! Here we go! Woohoo!
Ready to strike. Your turn to dance. Would have lived. Didn't really need it. My turn. Flashing through the sky. Here we go.
Well, that will help.
Flashing through the sky.
ready to strike.
What have we here? An advantage. Interesting.
through the sky. Here we go.
Perfect.
Welcome, Corito, no need to manor. Flashing through the sky. Flashing through the sky.
What have we here?
Flashing through the sky.
Your turn to shine. Your turn to shine. Look there. It likes you. It's really needed. Time to end this. Bring it on. Really need it. What a thing.
Flashing through the sky. Flashing through the sky. Hang on tight.
Watch out. Enter the careful now.
Hang on tight. Hang on tight. Flashing through the sky! 이런.
Four.
Get ready. let's carve a path. A proper challenge. Warriors of the dance. Cut him down.
I'm not giving in. Please. On me.
Expedition 46, Annalie. Brigitte finally succumbed to her infection. She fought off the blasted Nevron for 4 days and 4 nights, saving the rest of us, but it gashed her badly. Toward the end, she seemed almost peaceful. She said not to worry. Her daughter Lune will finish their work.
You okay?
Let's head back to camp.
Speak with your butt. Speak with your butt.
All my life, everything we did was about the pain. It was a constant hum in the background. This worry, this responsibility, just always. There was no relief. Even when I sleep, it's still like a breath. I can...
That's a lot of pressure.
Even her last words was finish our work.
It also shows how much faith she... And the other way?
My only value to them. Not as a daughter, but as a backup plan. For their legacy.
You really believe that?
They always said at the end of the game, there are no points for effort. Only...
If you hate it so much... What?
I don't know. Maybe because I still hear their voices in my head. And running...
They're dead. The voices aren't theirs. They're yours. Even if they were alive, the voices in your head, the voices you listen to, have to be your own.
Is that how it works for you?
Getting there. Sometimes it's hard to tell.
Yeah. It's strange.
Mael.
She has the power to remake all.
Yeah. What are you writing this time?
No.
No? Theories on axons then, or observation? Well, I saw you interview Minoko. It's about me, isn't it? The strange and shattered life.
That's a much...
Well... Come on. You're smiling, so...
Well, if you must.
A song?
My parents said music was frivolous, but you know what? The voices we listen to have to be our own, and I've decided to be a little selfish with my time.
Oh, I fully support taking selfish breaks.
Oh, I know you do. You've been taking quite a few selfish breaks with Xiao lately. I'm glad she's found some happiness, but... Okay. I'll play the song, but no laughing or smart-ass comments.
Me? Never. Indeed, maybe that would be...
Flashes through the sky. Hang on tight. Hang on tight. Hang on tight.
모르고? 아, 뭐 조금만 이거로 너무 니 맛있어.
Here we go.
Wow. Here we go. Get ready. What lovely feelings. Ready to strike.
Flash through the sky. Woohoo!
Ready to strike. Here we go.
That's filthy.
Ready to strike. Ready to strike. Cut him down. Just try it. I wouldn't.
The dance begins. Precision.
Let's have some fun. Let's carve a path.
Hang on tight. Flashing through the sky.
Ready to strike. Here we go. Why, yes, I'd love a dance. Better. Foolish move.
Amazing.
Get ready.
Okay. The dance begins.
Your turn to dance. Lift.
This will hurt.
Cut him down. Bring it on.
So, here I come. Flashing through the sky. Go! Hang on tight. Go! Hang on tight.
Coming. I would have left it. I would have left it.
I can do it.
Time to end this. Let's have some fun. I'm embarrassed. I would have left it.
I can do it.
Just try it. Cut him down. Not impressed. Your turn to shine.
Sharp.
My turn.
Please survive. There's no dodge.
Lift it. Time for mayhem. Watch out, Lyle.
You can't leave us yet.
I'll manage.
Blades sharp.
Well, that will help.
Flash through the sky. Here we go. Here we go.
Nice. Steal reception.
Dangerous, hostile, aggressive, and problematic. And so it's about sending a message. Yes, it's very important about sending a message. And so I don't view prison entirely about rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is a nice secondary effect. Like, it would be good if you could rehabilitate a person. But it's more important than rehabilitating a person is protecting the people that don't need to be rehabilitated. So the goal that I have with a lot of these laws, I've said this before, is that the focus should be protecting the people and creating a culture and society where people can feel like they're safe. And I think that criminals feeling like they're not safe is a good thing. And them being afraid, like, oh, well, you just get put in prison and that's all that happens, like they don't care about you, etc. Yeah, of course, that's the point. That's the point. The cruelty is the point. And if you want to avoid the cruelty, don't do the action. Nobody made him do that. He did this himself. He chose to do this. He's a grown man. He's making this decision himself. And so the way that you handle these people is you have to a certain degree, brutalize them. And if you do that, you stop the behavior. And the goal is to stop the behavior. And it can't be too extreme, bro. Oh, I'm not being extreme. This isn't extreme. This is. Yeah, no, that's it. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Yeah, exactly. And, yeah, ingredients and parathoids also use pesticides. Yeah, sure. The active ingredients in raid and parathoids, which they also use for pesticides and stuff. Exactly what I want to know is. Why are you trying to argue that it's the same as spraying pesticides and killing people? Like, spraying poison, like, this is done, obviously, to make the same thing, like, it's the same as thing as a spying camp, the ice and the fryer. It's very obvious that this person is doing it with malicious intent. You're trying to obfuscate by making some kind of, like, weird, abstract concept with pesticides and farmers, but this is a totally different conversation, and that's not even what's being discovered. It's a completely different issue. That's actually what it is. Yeah, that's what I think this person, because it's just such a weird thing to say. And, oh, one second, I'm sure people say something. Yeah, just go back to him. And there's no reason to even engage that type of thing. So anyway, so that's the way that you handle it. And the one thing for people on this is, minorities get the brunt of the justice system. How do you make it so a justice system is racially and class aligned? I don't care if it's happening with a black person or a white person. The majority of people in prison are men. We don't talk about how we need to imprison women, do we? No, it's retarded. The problem is the action. The person committing the action doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's a woman, a man, a black person, a white person, an Asian. It doesn't make any difference. I don't care if they're poor or rich. Why would I care about that? The action is bad. And so it should be treated that way. Yeah, women look at us, they should. They do. They should. The reason
a lot of them. So here's the reason why I have complaints. The reason why is because a lot of these people live in a media apparatus that views any sort of application of the justice system as reality, which should not be. That's not the damn that is true. That's the truth. And so, like, that's the reason why. It's because they're thinking about it from a completely different place for the foundation. Every race breaks the law. Yeah, exactly. It's the same as, like, basically, if 100% of all traffic crashes is being no, definitely. And you agree that bans the fine are going to clear close. Yeah, I do. I do. And I don't know, and stuff like that. How do you handle fines for a person that's, like, making money? I think that scaling fines for people that make more money is probably a good idea. Like, for example, if you're speeding and you're a millionaire, I think that you should get a bigger speeding ticket than if you were an average. Because again, the goal is making the behavior. So, it's not fair, by the way, that happens. It's also not fair that they're speeding. So again, the goal is not about making it fair for the person who's doing the bad actions. The goal is making it fair for the people who are doing the good actions and the victims of that. So that's always think about it. But not just what you're, yeah, that's what I think about everything. Is that that's all. And so, what you should do, and again, I'm going to explain it to you guys, like, really good, is that all you need to do is figure out why somebody is getting out of it, and then figure out how to take that thing away from them, and how to do it instead of getting it, and then you think that this then looks like nothing. This is how you train a rat. It's how you train a dog. It's how you train a person. It's how you train a society. It works all the way down. So all you do is you figure that out and you do it right. And so anyway, and we rise, yes, clearly, scaling fines is so unfair. I agree. I think that it is unfair. And that's why I would do it. As a measure and a show of intent and deliberateness. It is unfair. And that's the thing. Is that, like, I'm not, the goal is, for me, it's not about being fair. And it's also, like, who's it fair to? So then you think about it, and this is the problem that you have, is that you're thinking about it as, like, it being fair to everybody. How is it fair to everybody else on the road that this person gets to just pay a fine that's effectively pocket change to them, and they can continue doing what they were doing with no consequence? How is it fair to them? So are we going to think about what's fair to the one person who is actually doing something wrong that they don't want? We're going to think about what's fair to the hundreds of other people who might do the right thing and are put at risk because of this one person. And what about punch card before jail? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think in some cases that's full bullshit. Yeah, sure. You can find higher. Fines are average for lawbreakers. Rich people spending less. Crime is only punished because it hurts the state's income. If crime freed up fuel for resources, government would not punish this hard. Yeah, either way, punishment by definition isn't fair, which is why they work. Yeah, I think so. But either way, I could go back and forth on this a lot. Eventually, you'll be on the other side. What is this here? A lot of people argue with this. Everyone messes up. So, like, what do you mean by this? Everybody messes up. You mean, like, I'm gonna accidentally spray poison on, like, on bananas? Like, what do you think is gonna? What do you mean by this? Like, how's it? What does this mean? By that logic, we've all been arrested. Yeah. I don't understand what you mean by this. I'll let this person explain it, and then I was gonna watch one more thing. And yeah, speeding is a safer way to drive. The less time that you're on the road, the less chance that you'll have to get into an accident. I agree. I think they should change, and that's actually a great point. And so, like, here's the thing, right? It's like if you change the speed limit in school zones from 20 miles an hour to 200 miles an hour,
you hit the drive 100 miles an hour, you'd solve two problems. Number one, you get rid of dumb kids that can't pay attention and don't look both ways before they cross the road. They're stupid, that's natural selection, right? So that's number one. Number two, because the car isn't going to be in the school zone for a long period of time, then collectively, you're going to have less cars and less kids getting hit, right? Because the cars are going to go really fast. Right? Is that the way that's what makes sense, right? Yes? Okay, good, perfect. Great. We've got a brilliant mind in chat.
Nice.
Sky. Hang on tight. Flashing through the sky. Flashing through the sky! Hang on tight. Tight! We go! Flashing. Through the sky! Flash through the sky! go.
Corin, 34th Expedition. Looks like our elemental focus strategy didn't pay off. Who would have thought some nephrons would be immune to every element? We have discovered so much, though. I suspect there is a deeper level of chroma beyond what pictos enable us to manipulate. The pull of chroma grows as we get closer to the monolith. But thus far, we've been unable to tap into those flows. Maybe Gustav's idea to convert chroma from pictos to... what did he call it? Lumina. Maybe that's not so crazy.
Getting spicy.
Finesse and grace. You can't keep us yet.
That's how far. Why, yes, I saw the dots. Cut him down. Spicy. My turn.
Not giving up.
Here we go. Flashing through the sky.
Good stuff.
Oh, Matt. Ah, alors, vous la façon est sortie de...
Hang on tight.
Great.
Here I come. Flash through the sky.